This is the Final Round Podcast, coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt. Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Final Round Drag Racing Podcast. Excited to have you along for the ride with us this evening. A little bit of a rocky start, but nonetheless, what we got here, it's been that kind of a week as a whole, front to back, really.
I heard.
I managed to, the officer responding said that I was an overachiever. Ended up taking out 2 deer with my Lincoln that I just got in June. Got 2 of them that they were running in tandem, side by side. That was a lot of fun. Fun stories to write home about, to say the least. And it's probably going to total my car.
I assumed that it was going to be totaled.
Yep. The insurance company wasn't real excited about putting new fender core support, headlights, grill, bumper cover, and both fenders on a 20-year-old car.
Right.
Yeah.
So the grand plan that I had to circumvent some of the car payment issues that I had after I totaled my van.
6 months.
Lasted 6 months, and it has proven to be. We learned some things. One, hunters are doing it wrong. Because I've gotten 3, and I never had to get up early once.
I would say you didn't have to get a permit.
Nope. And strangely, they didn't take my license.
Huh?
Another thing is I should not own silver vehicles.
Oh, yeah. I never didn't think about that.
And before you knew me, I had a Dodge Avenger.
That was also silver?
That was shoulder blocked by a giant doe. Yes.
I will say I've become very aware, I guess. The first 35 years of my life, I never hit an animal. And then, I don't know why, I just ran into a string of bad luck going back and forth to Empire, where I hit somebody's cat. I hit 2 raccoons, and I hit a deer. And yeah, now I'm like driving at night. Man, I don't like driving at night because it's like, all right, I'm just waiting for something to jump out in front of me.
Well, both of these happen to be within the 2-hour window between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. I was on the way to a conference day at school. So when I was trying to call all the offices at school to tell them, hey, I'm not blowing off the conference day, no one was in the offices because they were at the keynote speaker address.
Oh, okay.
So it was really, really cool. But I got the note from the officer to at least verify, and I took pictures on the side of the road of my car, not the horrific scene that was left in the wake.
So did you have you made a decision as to what the new vehicle is going to be?
Well,
I mean, this only happened yesterday.
It happened yesterday morning.
Yeah.
The problem is, again, I'll take you through my logic on this, because I didn't want to have a car payment, and no bank in their right mind is going to give you a reasonable loan for a little bit more just on a car. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to try and take out a loan so that with what I got off my van and a little bit of that, I'd be able to pay off some of the old LLC.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Buy the vehicle, pay this vehicle off, making those small payments, and in a couple of years, we'd be able to roll without a payment for a little while.
Right.
So I got a personal loan,
well, that
not
could
an auto loan.
No, that's okay.
It is not okay.
Oh, why?
Because my car is 20 years old, and it doesn't have any value, and I don't have any gap insurance on an unsecured loan. So now we're waiting to see what the insurance company decides to do with my car. I'm going to get 2 prices, one for them to keep it, and one for me to keep it.
And turn it into a derby car.
And I'm going to sell it to the derby guys. I've already got a buyer. They're coming to look at it Saturday because it's still got all the catalytic converters on it. There's 4 of them on that.
Oh.
And, you know, if you know what you're doing with catalytic converters, you can turn those 4 into some, you can pay for the car.
Right, right.
So I want the cost of the catalytic converters and the car in order to try and make up the gap, because I have no idea where they're going to come in with the numbers on this thing. They could easily come in and say, here's $1,800, and at that point, I'm out of luck. But if they come in higher than that, we can make up the gap, and whatever's left over after I sell it or they take it, I'll be able to roll into another loan, because I haven't learned my lesson. Now I have no choice but to get a personal loan that's not secured, that's not tied to the car, so that I can go through and do all this again.
Well, we'll cross our fingers that the insurance company comes back and says, hey, you're in luck. That was a collectible Lincoln, and we're going to give you like $20,000 for that.
Oh, man, it's funny you should say that. I talked to Jess Ward on the phone today, and after she ran the VIN number, she in fact told me it was not a collectible. She said that it is a base model 2000, and I said it's got 81,000 miles on it. She goes, that might help you by a couple $100. Perfect. That's some good news.
Well, you did get the thing that I saw on Facebook that I forwarded you. I'm trying to think if it was on the Empire Dragway Racers Facebook page about the Derby drag racing.
Yes.
I think we need to do that.
I saw that. I got the car if you got the trailer.
I would say, actually, our car and trailer would go together very well.
We'd show up like a professional team.
Right, yeah. My trailer looks like a Derby trailer, and yours looks like a Derby car, so we'd be in good shape.
Yes. It's when I bought this car, I bought it, and I explained to my wife that I'm getting this particular year because from 98 to 02, the Fords had a gusset in the frame from the factory, which makes the crush boxes stronger. It's a valuable car in the Derby world.
Yeah.
This thing had 81,000 miles on it. It didn't see a whole lot in terms of winters. There was reason to justify this, and I just have to make sure that part comes through.
I'm trying to think, where did you pick that car up from?
That came from Allen Auto. It was traded in, and it's on Phelps, right across the street from the school. I looked at a bunch of other
I remember you went looking for it.
And when I found this, I'm like, this is perfect. I know a bunch of guys that want these cars. If anything does happen, I can either get parts easy, or I can sell it off quick. And it's leaning more towards
sell it off quick.
I had a guy in Canada say, if you can get it to me, I got all the parts in my backyard to fix it. I can do everything to fix it. You get it to me and I'll fix it.
So I guess I saw the picture of it on the side of the road. I'm assuming it was not drivable?
It won't turn over now.
Oh.
So it seems like the impact shut off in the back. There's something on the fuel pump that shuts it off.
Oh.
It goes into loop mode.
You know who we could ask is we could ask our guest in studio here, Chris Scarlata, because Chris works on. We're building into the Ford. You beat me there. So yeah, that was the direction we were going with that. Yeah.
Perfect.
So Chris Scarlata joining in studio. How are you?
Good, Chris. How are you?
Well, I think I've already answered that.
Yeah, you're doing okay for the circumstances, I guess.
Yeah, overall, I guess I don't know a dang thing about the Lincolns. I mean, do they do they have a fuel shutoff?
So yeah, they have a inertia switch. So if they do get hit, sometimes they do shut off, but it could be a mountain of other things, of course. But
right,
yeah.
So it won't turn over. That's the thing that's got me nervous. It's like it'd be fine if it was spinning. And it just wouldn't catch, like it's not getting fuel or something, but it's not doing anything. So I'm assuming that part of the legs got up in there and have either knocked the terminal off or knocked the wire off the starter or something.
I could just imagine appendages flying everywhere.
Yeah, oh man.
The lead deer's hips beat its face to the exit of the car off the fender. It was not a...
Well, the one that I hit with my motorhome, I guess I will say I was lucky because he got just his head far enough in front of the motorhome to basically not know what happened. And that was it. And I guess thankfully too that kind of kept the damage to the minimum because it was just a skull impact and kept the mess to a minimum as well. But it could be worse. I mean, I guess thankfully it was just damage to the car and nothing happened to you, right?
No, nothing happened to me.
And
that's
and you got to swear at the deer, I'm sure.
There was nothing left to swear at.
That's the most important.
It was falling on parts of deaf ears.
Right. Well, that's a bummer, but we'll get you hooked up with a new car and you can move forward.
Absolutely.
But meantime, Chris was nice enough to drive out here.
He did come out here.
Sure was.
I'm glad that everything's working.
And I will say you had a little bit of a panic, I guess, kind of technical issue last second there, trying to get everything up and running, but you obviously got everything working.
Yes. It appears to be anyway.
So we're live and we got a show.
Yes. Yes, and hopefully people got some laughs to start with.
At your expense.
Yeah. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with that. You always tell me to talk more. Well, here we go.
and that's just it. I don't know if you heard me, but I actually told Chris that I feel bad because of the fact that you're always so busy running the soundboard and the cameras and everything else that you don't get to participate in the conversation as much because of the fact that you're doing all this other stuff at the same time. So, I'm glad you're. So it's nice talking to you.
Yep.
We'll join you again in about 45 minutes at the end of the show. So we like I said, we were lucky enough to have Chris Scarlata come out and spend some time with us tonight. Thanks for coming out, Chris. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So obviously the reason why we really wanted to have you come out was you're coming off of a big win down at Piedmont. So it's funny because again, Chris Marquardt knew more about this than I did. He's like, he won the Door Slammer Nationals, right? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know what it was called. I know it was, a loose rocker promotions type of race, but I didn't know. And I went and looked it up, and it was the Door Slammer Nationals at Piedmont. So how did you, how did you find out about that and kind of get hooked up with that race in particular?
It was, we had recently talked at the shop about maybe doing something on a whim, and I looked up some loose rocker stuff. Had never been, but always wanted to go.
Yeah.
And came up. I saw the Door Slammer Nationals in Piedmont, and I'm like, oh man, 10-hour ride. Really don't want to do that, but
especially late November.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what the weather's going to be like here. So the four of us got together, and we took Ben's car. We got together and said, let's do it, and it was totally on a whim.
So, I mean, you and I talked a little bit before we went live. You had mentioned that, so this really was a partnership of the four of you, yourself, yes. Randy, Ben, and Justin?
Yes.
And you said, so it was Ben's car, and I guess how did the rest of it all work?
So what happened was Ben came off the season. He had a 355 small block in his car. We had a Mustang that we did some trading around on, and we actually sold the motor out of that and took another one in on trade with that.
Okay.
And Ben traded us around some stuff, so we took that motor, put it in his car, built the training for it, and then had a converter built for it, and it was a brand new combination all over again. So between the four of us, I mean, we all worked on it, we all helped each other, and that's what we got.
So what motor is in the car right now?
So it's got a 427 small block Chevy in it now.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And was that an LS motor?
No, it's a old school small block Chevy. Yep.
Regular small block Chevy. Okay. Was that the motor that was it done as a 427 at the time?
Yeah, so it came out of, actually, one of the guys we raced with, Mark Bliven. It came out of his car.
Okay.
We sold him our Mustang motor and then took that in on trade as a partial deal.
Okay.
And Ben was looking to maybe step up a little bit, so Randy and I talked, and we said, yeah, let's do it. Let's trade him up, and let's put it together. And then we got this wild idea that we were going to drive to Piedmont and see what happens.
So now the car itself, I mean, I guess, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. It's like, so the car is Ben's, right?
The car is Ben's, yes.
So is the car going to stay in its current configuration, or was this a one-race deal? I mean, are you going to pull the motor out and... I guess what's the plan, going from here?
No, the car's going to stay normal the same configuration it's in now. That was the deal.
Yeah.
We were going to start that way, see how it went, and then if everything was good and he was happy with it, it's going to stay exactly how it is.
Okay.
So he's going to step into next season and just start from where we left off, really. Same combination. We've got to change a couple of things. But yeah, he went from going... 690, 7.0s in the 8th to going 620, 630. So
that's a big jump.
It was a big step. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had no idea what the car was going to do, if it was going to work, if it wasn't going to work.
Right.
So that was the most nerve-wracking part. But it was, it obviously, it turned out really well for us.
And now how was it decided, I guess, that, not only we're going to go to Piedmont, but, hey, guess what, Chris? You're the lucky guy. You're going to be the guy driving the car.
So, well... We had talked about it beforehand, and Randy and Justin said, if we're going to do this, let's do it. We're all going to go. We might as well double enter. I mean, there's, all of us can drive. Randy said he just wanted to help, and Ben and I talked, and we said, let's double the car up together.
Okay.
And we actually, Randy, Ben, and I went into the whole trip splitting everything 3 ways.
Okay.
So because, I couldn't afford it to go by myself.
Yeah.
And I know Ben couldn't either at the time. So Randy said, let me put in, we're going to gamble on it, and let's see what happens. So obviously it worked out okay.
So yeah, paid off. So actually, and I guess I didn't realize that. So you guys were double entered.
Yes.
And you and Ben were both driving the same car.
Yeah.
Double entered.
Double entered. We were driving the same car. So they had different run tickets, so we were both different color run tickets.
Right.
We were doubled in the car. So we went down there. I had talked to Michael Beard that puts on the loose rocker stuff.
Yeah.
And he said, if you guys hustle, you can get 4 time runs at the beginning of Friday.
Okay.
And we were like, okay, we're going to need them. Let's do whatever we can. And so we're doubled in the same car, and Ben lost down to 4 cars. So we were still doubled at 4 cars in the same
crazy.
car. It was phenomenal. It was wild.
And he lost to the guy that you beat in the finals.
Yes.
So it's funny because the guy that you beat, he had to race that car twice.
Yes. Yes, he did. Yep.
And I think you mentioned to me against Ben. So in the finals against you, the guy got loose and had to lift. And I mean, he made I guess I'll call it a 75% run. I did see that he got back in it.
Yes.
But the round before against Ben, you said he was 00 on the tree and dead on something, right?
I when we talk to Ben later on, we'll have to see. I don't remember the exact numbers, but yeah, he was either high 00s or low teens, and he was dead on. I do know that.
Okay, yeah. So I mean,
Ben could probably tell you the numbers off the top of his head. He was amped up, so it was it was stellar. I mean, we both weren't crazy stellar. He had to race every round.
Yep.
I had a couple lucky rounds that just got us through, and next thing I knew, we were staring at each other down to.
That's really incredible. I mean, you think about going to a big race like that and saying, all right, we're going to double enter. Okay, but it's like, what's the chances that the two of you are going to make it down on opposite sides of the ladder, being like, geez, we got one round to go each, and we're going to race each other in the final, right?
It was, yeah. I mean, we had jokingly joked about it at the shop. We're like, what happens if we race each other in the final? You know what I mean? And we were like, yeah, okay, that's never going to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? And next thing I know, I had to buy at 14 cars down to 7.
Okay.
And I got through at 14 cars. I got through TG Pascal, which he's a hitter.
Yep.
Got through him. He was 7 on the 007 on the tree, dead 3. And I happened to be 2, dead 1. So it was a 10-pack to a 3-pack, which I don't know how it happened, but so we're chuckling. I make it through the bye round. Ben makes it through that round.
Yeah.
Randy goes, watch, Ben will have the bye to 4. And I'm like, there's no way. Next thing you know, they're announcing Ben's name. He's got a bye to 4 cars. So we looked at each other, we're staring at each other, and we're like, okay, this is real now. It was going so fast, Jason, that I had no idea where we even were in the race,
Sure.
So we're both staring at each other, and we're like, okay, this is getting really real now.
Yeah, I mean, do you know how many cars entered to begin with?
If I remember right, I think Friday it was a little light. It was around 200 entries. And then Sunday, I want to say there was almost 300 entries. So it was 10. So we both lost Sunday morning.
Yeah.
We both had to buy back.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, we both lost.
Okay.
And we were on the good ends, or the bad end of a good race.
Yeah.
We both bought back. We put 19 rounds on that car Sunday by itself.
Wow.
So the poor car, I mean, it handled the abuse, and we beat it. And I would say the last 4 or 5 rounds were round robin.
Yeah.
So it was
Well, and that's what you said. I mean, that's where you're like, you don't even know what round you're in, and you got two guys double entered running at the same time, right? So I mean, pretty much as fast as you probably came back, and as fast as you could basically fuel that car up and hop out of it. Ben's hopping in it. You're all running up to the staging lanes, right? To basically get him down the track. Okay, let's run back to the pits and rinse and repeat. And
and the thing, it was brought to my attention, and I didn't even realize it. I had talked to my dad on the phone, of course. Earlier that day, and he's like, somebody mentioned it. I don't remember if it was Dad or not, but we were talking about how much is going on, and they said people don't realize what you guys are actually doing. You're driving the same car, so the numbers on the window change every round. The numbers in the delay box change every round. Your jacket, your helmet, the tires, everything changes. Right. I was going between 5 and 7 hundredths faster because I'm a little bit lighter than Ben.
Yeah.
So everything was totally different.
It just sounds like, honestly, a recipe for disaster. I mean, like I said, the delay box thing. I mean, there's a perfect example, right? It's like you forget to change the delay box. You go up there, you let go of the button. You're like, what the heck? What just happened? And come back to like, oh, God. So, there's a lot to keep track of. So, the fact that you guys were able to do all of that. And, I mean, I knew that Ben had made it down to the semis, but I didn't realize it was in the same car.
Yeah.
I thought he was racing something else. So that's even crazier. So that ended up being, you told me that it was supposed to be a 10, a 20, and a 10.
Yes.
Did it rain out Saturday? Is that what happened?
Yeah, so it rained out early in the week. We had talked, and Michael Beard had put up, hey, it looks like rain Saturday, so we're gonna change the purse structure. If it rains Saturday, we're gonna just cancel.
Yep.
We're gonna put 10,000 from the 20,000 on Saturday. We're gonna put 10 in Friday and 10 in Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So both Friday and Sunday were 20,000 for the same entry for the whole weekend. So that was pretty phenomenal of them to do,
So was it just Sunday? You said you made 19 passes?
19 laps we put on the car from the start of the day. So we came. And the crazy thing was, you come off the trailer, there's no time trials. You
on
go
Sunday.
On Sunday, you go right in the first round.
Right.
So we, like I said, we were both on the bad end of really good races, and we both bought back Sunday morning. I honestly, at one point, I told Ben, and I told Randy also, I'm like, guys, I'm kind of out of money, you know what I mean? And Randy's like, well, you're not leaving without buying back. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll do it. And
hey, there's a perfect example, honestly, of when you go to a race like this that you really got to be all in. You have to be willing pretty much to buy back until they tell you, you know what, you can't buy back anymore.
Right, exactly.
Sorry, load your stuff up and go home. There's no more buybacks. You're out. Because here's a perfect example where, I mean, maybe you said, you know what, I'm not sure I want to throw the money at it anymore, or maybe you would have said, you know what, we put a lot of passes on this car and Ben's still in, so why don't we just concentrate on him? So let's not do that, and that would have been obviously a very costly mistake had you done it. So in the end, I mean, it was a nice investment that you guys ended up making, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, the thing that people, I guess, that don't race may not realize is that, you won $20,000 on Sunday, but it wasn't free to trailer the 10 hours from Rochester down there. The entry fees and buybacks are significant when you're entering, races like this, right? So, in the end, you guys made money for the weekend, but it wasn't like, you walked away with $20,000 because there were some significant expenses that also went into the weekend, right?
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing was, like I said, when we went down, we took Ben's Suburban, Ben's open trailer, and it was the four of us, Randy and I, Ben, Justin. We all rode together, and we went into it knowing that we were going to split the trip 3 ways. It made it a little easier. Entry fees really, in the grand scheme of racing for $20,000, it really wasn't that bad. It was $380 for the weekend.
Oh, that's not bad.
As a single entry.
Yeah,
so
that's not bad.
I mean, for the money, $760 to get in and have a shot. But you do have buybacks, like you said. I mean, we both bought back Friday. We both bought back Sunday. So there's another, $600 add on top of it. We switched to alcohol, so the fuel wasn't so bad.
I assumed that when you were saying that you were basically running the car round robin, like it had to be on alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, Thomas Fletcher, we were talking to him, and we said we had to get alcohol, and Thomas stepped up and gave us what he had, and that was phenomenal. He had 40 gallons left, so we rolled through that.
Did you use all 40 gallons?
I think there was 5 gallons left.
Wow.
So, yeah, we rolled through that. But, just from Friday was pretty depressing. We came off the trailer, made our 4 runs, and
so you did get 4 time runs like you had hoped, or that Michael said that you could probably do.
We made it through. We round robin the car in the time runs, and he let us make 4, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
We needed every bit of that.
Oh, sure. Brand new combination, absolutely.
Brand new combination. Ben had, raced the car, but it was still different for him. It was still new to him, and I had never sat in the car. He unloaded the car off the trailer, warmed it up. I had never sat in the car until I drove it to the staging lanes Friday morning.
I hate you.
Honestly, it was comfortable, Jason. It was easy to get in and drive. He had it set up really nice. The trans brake button was in a good spot.
Yeah.
It was. He made it really easy to get comfortable in it. And he gave me an opportunity, to drive it, which was phenomenal for him. From him. And we all worked together as a team, and it paid off really well.
Now, obviously this wasn't a last second deal. I mean, it wasn't like, all right, Thursday you decided, all right, let's go down to Piedmont Friday morning, right? So when did all this come together that, hey, let's do this?
So we started talking about it.
I'm assuming that the whole project, if you will, kind of came together as, Ben talking about, I want to make some upgrades to my car for next year, and that's kind of how it got started.
Yeah, so it started, I want to say it started like mid-October. We had talked about it. Ben's car was at the shop. He wanted to go, like you said, he made mention of stepping up. So we started selling parts off the Mustang that we had because we're going to change that.
Yep.
So we started moving stuff, and that motor fell into a deal, and we made a deal, and we started talking, and it's like, okay, well, Ben wants to step up, so let's do this with him. Then he needed a better transmission, so we had some parts. Dad had some parts, and so he sold Ben the parts. We put the transmission together. Carl from Competition built a brand new converter for the combination, and all of a sudden it was like the beginning of November, and we started talking about it, and we're like, yeah, I think we could have a legitimate shot. I did not expect what had happened. I expected hopefully to go a few rounds and pay for maybe the trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Between the both of us.
Right.
And so we talked about it. We said we're going to watch the weather. We'll make that decision the Wednesday before we leave. I mean, we'll load the car, put it all together. And so the car ran. I finished the trainee the week before.
Yeah.
Carl had the converter. So we slid the trainee and converter in it the weekend before we left.
Yeah.
The car ran at the shop. We cruised it down the road for a quick second to make sure it shifted and loaded it on the trailer. That was it. So it was the last 2 weeks the whole car came together, and then we decided we were going to watch the weather, and if it looked good, go. So
I would say that's youth and exuberance for you.
Yeah.
I will say that Randy's still I don't know how old Randy is. I don't know if he's as old as I am, but I don't think anybody's as old as I am, but maybe Phil Harnden's as old as I am.
Phil,
but I have to say that that's the type of thing where it's like, maybe doing the upgrades, all the rest of it. Jokingly, I might have said, maybe we get the car done and go down to Piedmont, but I never would have probably even tried to do that. I'd be like, no, we'll take our time and put it together and get it ready for next season, and I'll be out first thing, right? So the fact that you guys put that thing together and still followed through, and it's like looked at the calendar, hey, is there any place we can go racing still in 2019 without having to go to Vegas or something like that is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we had talked about it, and I had actually found it, like I said, I always wanted to do a loose rocker race, but never really could swing it. Didn't have time during the summer, and just the money. I couldn't swing the money, to be honest.
Yeah.
And we had talked about it, and we made the deal to split it 3 ways, which lightened it up for both of us.
Right.
All 3 of us, actually. And Randy just, no matter what, he's got the drive. and he's got the push. He just pushed us along and drove us to do it. And he's like, if you guys want to go, this is what we need to do. And let's do it. So his drive for drag racing is phenomenal. I mean, he doesn't quit. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think where they went down south midsummer sometime, right? They go down. Well, maybe it was the spring. Did they go down to Atlanta, or did Randy go down to Atlanta or something?
Randy went to Atlanta shortly after Yellow Bullet Nationals. So maybe it's October, I think.
Okay.
I want to say he went to Lights Out. Maybe.
Okay.
I think it was Lights Out.
Yeah.
And I think because I think Lights Out and then No Mercy is in the.
Oh, you know what? And I believe, if I remember correctly, I think Phil had taken the motorhome down to Florida, and then I think stopped at that race on the way back.
Yes.
As they were driving back. So yeah, I think it was around that kind of time frame, and so I mean, obviously, Randy's not afraid to travel. So what did you guys do? Did you guys run to get a hotel then for the weekend?
Yeah, so we had planned on taking Randy's motorhome. We had talked about it, but then it was like, well, the money we're going to spend in fuel and that thing, probably just get a hotel.
Yeah.
You know? So, so the night before we leave, I'm like, hey, do you want me to get us a hotel? And Randy's like, oh yeah, you should probably do that, you know? So I get on the phone, get a hotel. My wife helps me do that. And she's like, do this. I'm like, great. So can 4 of us stay in a room? She's like, yeah, sure, why not? So we go down there, one room. There's 4 of us in it. So that was a disaster. But, so we got a hotel.
2 doubles, hopefully, and not just 1 king.
It was 2 doubles and a pull-out couch. So that was even better. But it was...
A lot of times you can request a cot.
Yes. So they had a double pull-out couch, which was kind of nice, actually. But I slept on the floor the whole weekend.
It's funny. It's like, share a bed? Nope. Dudes are not sharing a bed.
No. So that was pretty.
Just give me a pillow. I'm a pillow on the floor with a blanket. I'm good.
Right. Exactly. So that was pretty funny in itself. The arrangement there, and so we talked about that, and then Saturday it rained, so it was actually kind of nice. So when it rained Saturday, we kind of had a break. So it was. It's nice to do something different other than be stuck at the racetrack, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
One of my buddies lives in North Carolina, so he came up and met us. Of course, being drag racers, we found a go-kart track. Managed to not get thrown out of that, so that was good.
I would say that's got to be a first for a bunch of racers at a go-kart track.
To not get thrown out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a neat weekend, and we were looking for something to do Saturday night, and Ben had talked about getting a tattoo all weekend, so Randy was not going to let that go. So Ben ended up getting a tattoo.
Really?
I got a tattoo. So, and then Sunday we roll into racing, and both our arms are sore. You know what I mean? So but it was just wild. It was fun. It was a nice break from reality.
So I'm assuming, Chris, that you tried to get in touch with Ben
A lot.
unsuccessfully. I'm wondering if he potentially saw the caller ID being from a 315 area code and was like, I don't know who this is, but I'm not answering it because...
well, now it's ringing straight to voicemail, so I'm pretty sure that he noticed it and blocked it.
I can give him a ring if you guys would want. I mean,
just tell him to answer his phone.
I will text him to answer his phone.
Or potentially...
I messaged him through Facebook as well, saying, it's us. We're trying to get you on.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, definitely would like to hear his side of the story as well, for sure.
Yeah,
right? And obviously...
absolutely.
So do you
real quick, I just want to understand something real quick.
Yeah?
Yes.
So
go ahead.
It's like, you guys got...
Well, wait. I would say we got 20 minutes until 8 o'clock. You can't speak yet.
I know. I'm breaking the rules. You guys got matching tattoos, but you wouldn't share a bed.
No matching tattoos.
Oh.
No, definitely did not match Ben's tattoo. Nope. So that was pretty cool. That was fun. Something different.
So what, was it something to commemorate the weekend, or was it something that you just, let's go get a tattoo? And
well, Ben had talked about it, and Randy wasn't going to let him skate on and not getting one. So Randy pushed him pretty good to get one. So, no, he got one, and then I ended up with one with my kids' names in it.
Oh,
so
nice.
That was, something different.
Okay, so...
I guess we can't pick on you too much.
No, right. But, no, it was cool. It was fun to It was actually, I've never really gone to a race where you've had that break in between. And you could kind of just relax and do something different. You know? That was nice. And, got to hang out with my buddy, Kyle, and he moved down there probably 3-4 years ago, so I don't see him much. So that was nice. That was a nice break. Yeah.
Is that a slick track go-kart track?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. That is cool.
Isn't it?
What?
It is cool.
A slick.
Yes.
Finish the sentence so we all know that you're old.
Okay. I say I have no idea what you're talking about. A slick go-kart track?
How did they do that one down there? Did they put the oil on the tires when they're in the staging lane, and then it just built up the slick surface on top?
I don't know. It was weird. So one track was normal, and then the other
That
track...
was like a road course?
Yeah, they were both road courses, but the one
The
track...
slick track was a road course?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So the corners were...
Yeah.
You could see the corners were different colored, and it'd be... You'd just be going down the straightaway sideways. It was crazy.
You hit it like ice.
Yes, and it was just like ice. So that was pretty neat. We had a ball. Smashed into each other a little bit.
I have never heard of such a thing.
Really?
It was cool.
No?
It was
It's a ton of
totally
fun.
cool.
We went to...
So yes, I clearly am old. Uh-huh.
We went to a slick track. The road course, it was a giant, for lack of a better term, it was like a giant Y. There was a couple loops and a bridge and everything
Okay,
like that.
yeah.
And that was the main part of this amusement park. But then off to the side, it was a slick track, but it was an oval. And the center section was wheels that were on an axle, so they would turn. If you got hit it would just you just follow your way around. But it was off center instead of being a true oval, so that you had more room on entrance, and you had to drive it out of the corners, and you were backsteering the whole way around the track, the whole way around this oval, and it was just like driving a sprint car or a late model. Sprint cars have the big wings on top.
Right.
I
do know that.
But yeah, it was a ton of fun. These things had no power, but you still had to feather it.
I wonder why.
You had to drive it.
Why,
it was cool.
Why not make them on dirt?
Not that
because
cool.
probably the upkeep to keep them clean would be asinine versus just putting some slippery substance down on finished pavement.
On pavement.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing around here?
I believe there is in Binghamton or down that direction.
Okay.
I believe so. Most of the stuff that we have in the greater reaches of the Finger Lakes where we are right now is, are they called K1? The electric carts that they have.
Oh, yeah.
There's a track in Buffalo. There's one in Henrietta at Marketplace Mall.
Right.
And then Destiny USA has one too.
Yeah.
Now isn't there like a double tier or 2-story one up Buffalo way or maybe Canada? Possibly. It's like a 2-tier double decker, like a parking garage building, from what I understood.
Could be. Is that the complex that's got the water park and the laser tag facility
It could
tied
be.
to it?
That could be, Chris. Yeah, it could be.
I don't know. I'm old. I don't know. I mean, you guys might know, but I know that there's a cool go-kart track I know in Orlando that's kind of like that, multi-level and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, this type of thing is the first time I've ever heard of something like this.
Slick track go-karts are cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun.
When I lived in Virginia, there was a regular track, and then there was a slick track that was high bank. They wouldn't let us on it because it had begun to rain. And but they had told us a story about they had a party. They had a group there, like a bunch of like a business deal where you get to know each other.
Oh,
So
yeah,
there's
yeah.
some
Team building.
Yeah,
type of-
team building
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And they had with a slick track.
That I
one of
know
the
because
guys-
us old people, that's what we do.
one of the guys got sideways. Another one comes through the corner and just hit it just like ice and hit him in the side and shoved both of them up over the wall. Hit him on top.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because so I think it was so every year we have our annual sales meeting at Banner out in Minneapolis, and I'm pretty sure it was last year that we went to Mall of America in Minneapolis. And one of the team building things was the electric go-karts that they have. And so not my boss, but my boss's boss. These go-karts were pretty fast. And I started in the back and, was trying to get around people. I mean, for the most part, I am not a good go-kart racer. I mean, obviously, I'm used to going straight, right? So going around corners is not my forte. But still, I guess going in a fast vehicle, I have a slight advantage over people that generally aren't used to doing that. So, I'm generally making my way through the pack, all the rest of it. Well, there was a blind it was a high-speed corner down a hill and wide open, and my boss's boss spun out sideways. And I came down here and around the bend, and I had no choice but to plow into him at full speed. I was up on top of him. And I actually hurt him. I mean, his leg was okay. I mean, it wasn't like he had to go to the hospital or anything, but opened up a cut on his leg.
Oh man.
So it's like, all right, well, I'll pack my stuff up at the office when we get back. And
so in the two-seaters, I don't know, were there two-seaters at the facility that you went to? You notice?
Not the ones we went to. No, not that I saw.
So there's the two-seaters, and they're generally slower because they got the governor set different.
Yeah.
But there's this rail that's right on the inside of the right side on the passenger seat.
Yeah.
That if you step on that, it basically overrides the governor. And you can make those things fly.
So the key is you tell the guy, I want a two-seater, please. And
bring your kid, you become a hero. Because you can pass everything like it's dragging a plow.
Wow. Anyways, it's glad to hear that you guys had a good time. I will say that back a million years ago at Norwalk, I had something similar like that happen where it rained. And the one day there was a mall or something at Norwalk, and we spent 3-4 hours essentially at Norwalk just walking around this mall. And I think about the good times that I had at the races, and it's like, that particular time stands out because it wasn't just sitting at the races, waiting for the next round of racing. It was, something completely different. Right. Mm-hmm. Having fun in the mall, as crazy as that sounds. That's one of the things I like about New Media too, is that if you go to New Media for the points race, most of the time it's on Friday or Saturday. I think it's Friday night that most of the guys go to Knoebels. Okay. Mm-hmm. Kind of breaks it up. Everybody leaves the track and goes to the amusement park and hangs out there.
Yeah, it was nice to break it up, and just the experience down there was neat. Never been to that racetrack, never raced there, so that was cool. It's nice to add one to the list.
Sure. Yeah.
And just to go down with a group of guys that work well together. Just you can't say enough about it. It's just very, very wild to experience. So I'm glad I got to experience that.
I have to say I have not been to Piedmont. So typically the loose rocker races, these are. Well, this was not a foot brake race. Typically nope. Michael Beard's races are usually foot brake races, but this one wasn't. This one was. Did he have separate box and no box sides, or was it just everybody? It was just a free for all.
Yep, this one was just a free for all. So he does do. I think he does 4 or 5 races throughout the year. So he does do a foot brake race.
Yeah.
He does a top bulb race. So this was a top bulb race.
Okay.
No separate classes, no nothing.
Okay.
The one that stands out to me the most is Kevin Pollard in that Chevy Love truck. He's a foot brake racer. He was there.
Yep.
Going 530s foot braking it. So that was cool. So we got to talk to him for a few minutes. That was pretty wild.
Yeah.
But yes, he does a $50,000 race down there also. Midsummer, I think. So we had talked about it. Our goal next year is I'm gonna actually. Ben will probably go back with his car, I'm sure, and then I'd like to bring my own stuff and go down there.
No, you're not going to do another one.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. We might go back to that one. We'll see. But yeah, I'd like to definitely hit at least that one up. There's a one at Virginia Motorsports Park in March.
Okay.
St. Patrick's Day Classic, they call it. So I'd like to maybe hit that, and we'll see. You know how it goes. It's tough to travel. Down there the weather's gorgeous. It's cold.
It's hard to get out of Western New York.
It's hard to get. Yeah, you never know. Try to drag a truck and trailer out. And that weather, it's just not feasible sometimes. But
and St. Patrick's. I will say St. Patrick's Day. You're talking second week of March March around here. We could easily get 3 feet of snow that weekend, right?
Right, exactly.
your trailer, like I said, your trailer sitting outside. It could be completely buried, and you gotta, so yeah, it's it does stink. Like I said, even if you could get south to race where it's nice, it's an adventure getting down there. But those, like I said, it's one of those things where you play it by ear. Now, what about your cars in general? I mean, what's the plan for that? I mean, you got a little extra money now.
Yeah, a little bit. Not. I don't know. I'm not going to change much. The dragster. I mean, I raced it I think 3 times this year. So.
Really, that's it?
Yeah, Dad raced it twice. I raced it 2 or 3, I think. So,
okay.
I mean, it doesn't have anything on it for runs this year. It's just, it's nice to have both cars, but it's really hard to run them at the same time.
Right.
You know how it goes, Jason. They require so much attention.
Mm-hmm. If you want to do it right.
Yeah, if you want to do it the right way. The dragster, not so much. I mean, that's always been the same. It'll probably never change. The Firebird, we're going to do... I'm going to set it up to bracket race it on motor again because I had not had that.
Yep.
And then we're going to try and tackle the 550 small tire stuff that we like to do with it.
Yep.
So we've got Empire and Lancaster working together now.
For the 550 class?
Yeah, so we're actually going to, for all of them, we're actually going to run a points series between the 2 racetracks.
Oh, that's cool.
So we picked up 550. We have a 650 index class now, and then the Outlaw cars, and then the Quick 16 show. So we're gonna run a point series for all of them at both tracks.
Okay.
And try to do a little points fun thing, put something together. And I know Ben, when I had talked to Ben, that was one of his deals. He couldn't go fast enough to run 650.
Mm-hmm.
So with this new combination. He had talked about he's going to run 650.
Yep.
He's going to try and run your series a little bit because
Yep.
I know you guys are changing some stuff up.
We are.
Phil came into the shop. Can't miss Phil. He came into the shop and we were talking about it. So Ben had talked about doing that also. So I'm pretty sure that's his plan moving forward. And then we're just going to kind of do what we do and try to race as much as we can locally.
Yeah. I will say, that's cool. I will say that for us, I meant to message Phil. He messaged me quickly today, and I didn't get a chance to get back to him. I was just too busy at work. But he talked to Jerry, and we have our 2 dates set for Empire.
Okay.
We have 2 dates already set for Lancaster.
Okay.
And then we have... I wasn't 100% sure. Doug Linden actually messaged me earlier this week, and he said he saw it on Dragway 42's schedule that we have a weekend at Dragway 42 as well.
Okay.
Did you know that you had a weekend at Dragway 42?
So I talked to Marianne Matcham, who's one of the owners of the drag strip, and I said, well, here's a bunch of dates. I'm like, honestly, I think it's the 25th and 26th, if I remember correctly. It's like of July. Sorry, there's a lot of 25th and 26th, right?
There's at least 12.
Right. Yeah, right. So the 25th and 26th of July. So I told her, it's like, this appears to be the ideal weekend. I'm like, here's some other weekends. I'm like, you just got to let me know. And she's like, all right, I'm going to talk to my people and I'll get back to you and let you know. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Doug went on the Dragway 42 Facebook page and they had the schedule there. And he's like, do you know about this? And I'm like, well, kinda. I guess I do now.
That's awesome.
So and we're I think we're definitely all in on switching from a 4/10 Pro Tree to a 5/10 Pro Tree to try and get more people into the class that just don't feel like they can hit the 5/10 Pro Tree because they don't have a chassis car. And in the end, I mean, we don't really care.
They can't hit the 4/10 tree.
4/10, sorry, yeah, can't hit the 4/10 tree. Yeah. I mean, you can hit a 4/10 tree if you just have a back half car. I mean, I do it in the Corvette, but it's not something. It takes work. You got to work at it to make something like that happen. With 5/10 tree, anybody can hit a 5/10 Pro Tree.
Absolutely.
As long as your car is fast enough. Actually, I mean, Billy Lieber would even challenge me on that. He'd tell me that he could get a good light on a 5/10 Pro Tree with a street car because he has. So you got the right setup, the right driver. You can, like I said, anybody can hit a 5/10 Pro Tree. Mm-hmm. That for a situation like that, I mean, it's just for us guys that run on a 4/10 Pro Tree all the time. It's just throwing another tenth in the delay box, and who cares? I mean, it's Pro Tree racing.
What are you doing with new media?
Dragway 42.
No. Are you going to get a race down at New Media?
So we're not going to do any races specifically at New Media. I don't know if Rob Keister and the Mid-Atlantic guys, if they're going to do a race at New Media again.
It wasn't New Media. You had a conversation that perhaps you're going to try to get together and do some sort of challenge event.
That was New Media.
That was there, right?
That was New Media, yeah. Which, if Rob is watching this, he's probably cursing me right now because we didn't go. And I don't remember.
Wait, what? You booked a challenge race and then didn't go?
So he ran the challenge race. So he had a North versus South challenge race, and we had talked about this for years, but because of the way it went down with Phil's car basically not being able to get down the track and my car not being ready, we couldn't go. I felt terrible because we talked about it all this time, but.
So when you said you couldn't go, I was thinking that Western New York Super Rod Association didn't go, but you're just saying with your car to go.
Yeah,
compete.
and I have to say I don't know personally how many guys from around here ended up going. But yeah, I mean, I really wanted to go. It was an event that I thought would have been really cool, and try and get a bunch of guys to go down there. But I couldn't at the same time because of the situation that we were in with the cars. I couldn't very well go and try and corral 6 or 8 guys to make the trip down to New Media and then be like, oh yeah, just what guys, I'm not going. Good luck. Right. So.
Yep, that's no good.
Yeah, so like I said, Rob's probably cursing me because I didn't make it after all these years of talking about it. But and we'll see. I mean, for us in particular, I mean, Phil and I have talked now that his car is going straight. I mean, I still need a set of headers for my car. Which if Randy would have come tonight, Randy could have actually potentially gotten himself some business.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I need a set of headers for the Corvette bad. I mean, I can't run it until I get another set of headers. So, okay. But now that Phil's car is going straight, we're going to try and maybe hit the Norwalk points meet, or maybe it would be if Rob ran another race at New Media, we would do that race and the New Media points race. Who knows? I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, there should be plenty of. I know I talked to Doug Linden and he was pretty happy that we were going to run our series again, and he said he was on the fence about traveling again this year, and now he's decided he's not going to because it seems like there's plenty of stuff around here for him to do, and I think he can run 550s with his car.
Yeah, that's stout.
So I could definitely see him potentially. Well, I guess it depends. I mean, the 550 class, does it have to be small tire?
Yes. Yep. So you're limited. So the 550 deal between Lancaster and Empire, you're limited to 29.5 slick.
Okay.
That's the biggest slick you can have.
Yeah. 650
is a little more lenient. I think they're a 31.13.5.
Oh.
So it opens up that, it's a little more affordable, or a little easier and affordable to put it together. 650 car. That's still decently fast, but the 550 stuff it's pretty cool. I mean, you're doing it on a 29.5 10.5 tire.
Yeah.
3,000 pound cars. So
right.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And then the Outlaw guys are just out of their mind. So Randy and Rachel and all those guys, Mo, and I mean they're just unreal.
Yeah, and I will say those. I mean, that stuff looks super, super fun.
Yeah.
But yes, those guys are out of their mind for sure.
And luckily, I mean, I've had the fortune to drive a couple of Randy's cars throughout the years, and he had that maroon Chevy too.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, and I got to drive that, and it was just crazy. You're going 460s on a. That was on a radial too, so it was a radial tire car, and it's just crazy.
Now, are you gonna run the truck in the 550 class? I'm assuming.
Dad's truck?
Yeah.
No, so that's got big tires on it.
Oh, it does.
It's a tube chassis. So.
Okay, so it's got to be a back half only car.
So it can be a back half car, but it's got to be stock front suspension or stock location. So it can't have like the strange struts on it or ultra struts or anything like that.
Yep.
So that's what makes it kind of cool, because you're at a little bit of a, not a disadvantage, but it makes everybody on a level playing field, with the stock suspension stuff. So that's cool.
I would say I would like, so I mean, power adders are, you can use a power adder in the 550 class, right?
Yes.
I guess I would like to do that. I mean, I don't know how much I guess I don't know how much nitrous I'd have to throw at my Corvette to get it to run 550s. I could probably run 580s right now with my car.
Yeah.
But I will say, as far as the 650 class goes, the tires that I have on the car right now are the 13.5, 31.
There you go.
So I could run that right now just as it is and slow it down. And yeah, from my perspective, that's pretty cool. I mean, if I have one more class that I could potentially race, I'd definitely be into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's on. They're both on 410s Pro Trees, and it's just an index race. I mean, just like your race, Jace, basically, but it's a 10 slower. So it's neat. It's competitive. There's a decent following, especially in the 650. More so the 650 stuff.
Yeah.
But the 550 stuff is fun. I enjoy it. It's still you can afford it.
Right.
It's affordable.
Right.
I mean, you got to lean on stuff a little bit harder. My car we lean on pretty good to make go 550, but and then you step into it's a whole nother animal, a whole nother world when you step into the outlaw guys. And that's where our Mustang is headed, actually. The orange Mustang that we bought from Nick Kelpin. That's where that's headed.
You're gonna go outlaw racing with that?
Yeah. So that's headed. It's gonna be an ultra street car.
Okay.
So they run on a 275 radial.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a big black nitrous car. So Randy. So the deal when we bought that car, our buddy Nick had passed away.
Okay.
Last year.
Yep.
So we bought it from Nick's wife to help her out.
Yep.
And so Randy, and my dad bought it together.
Okay.
So we decided that's what we wanted to do. That's where Nick was headed with it, hopefully eventually. So, I mean, those guys go 450s, 460s on a radial. So that's where we're going to campaign it, maybe 3 or 4 races out of town, and then race the outlaw stuff at home.
And you're going to keep the Firebird and keep the dragster, and I guess
yeah. So the dragster is probably not going to see much time this year. It's probably going to get parked in the back of the garage.
Yeah.
Race the Firebird. Dad's going to continue doing. He's doing some 470 stuff with the truck, and bracket race the truck.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's probably about it. I'm going to campaign the Firebird for 550, and then Randy doesn't. He'd rather tune, rather wrench on the car, and he said he's more useful behind the car, so he can see what's going on and set the chassis up. And
I've always wondered, like with the Chevelle, why he didn't drive that, right?
He when you talk to Randy, he's funny. He's so he's humble, he's quiet, and Randy drove for a bunch of years back. I'm sure you remember the Corvette when they had the top street Corvette.
Yep.
He drove for years, and they won. They raced. I think it started as NMCA and then it went to NSCA.
Right.
He won like 4 straight years in a row, 4 championships. And he said he just got burned out of driving. He'd rather just stand behind the car and watch it, and felt like his decisions were better there.
Right.
So he, Rachel, of course, drives the Chevelle. She does a phenomenal job. The thing flies. So he asked me to drive the Mustang, and we're going to make a run at it, so we'll see what happens. So that ought to be interesting. So if you catch us on that day where we race the same class stuff, I'm going to be racing the Firebird and 550 and racing the Mustang and Outlaw.
I guess I didn't realize that the Firebird was on a 10.5-inch tire.
Yeah, it's on a 28 10.5.
Yeah, I guess I didn't. I didn't realize that. I could put that on. Well, you got to run. You have bead locks on the Firebird, I'm sure, right?
Nope.
No,
it's still got old school wheels with rim screws. Yeah. So it's tubes, to support the small tire. But
okay.
We run stiff sidewall tire and a tube, just because it's heavy.
Yeah.
But that's an old school small block Chevy that Randy's brother actually helps us do the motors, his dad and I. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. So it's literally a family affair there. So I mean, they help us both, Ronnie and Randy. Ronnie's got the engine stuff down.
Yeah.
So he's helping Dad, helping Dad and I now freshen everything up, and he's helping us with the new build, and he's helping Randy with his, and so it's just we all kind of work together. Without any of those guys, we couldn't afford to do it.
Right.
You know.
Now the 10.5 is that on a 12-inch rim?
Mine's on a 15 by 10.
10-inch, all right,
Yeah.
10-inch rim.
The bigger ones, yeah, like the Mustang we've got on a 12-inch. Randy's actually got his on a 14-inch. So he stretches them way out. But it works. When you mount it, it's a little scary, but it works. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you'd be able to run that on a 14-inch wide rim.
Yeah. So he's actually he had slicks on the car and struggled with it, shaking the tires. He went back to Pro Bracket radials on the Jewell. So he's got 275.
Okay.
So they're a 28-inch tire,
Yeah.
but they're radials. And I think he went 430s on those at Capital at the end of the year. So he's those guys, they're crazy. That's fast.
That is fast.
on a 28-inch radial, you know. So he's they've got it figured out. Him and Justin. Justin's huge behind the keyboard and just, you know, tuning. It's fuel injected. It's on methanol. So
Right.
Justin just keeps going and going and going with it. So technology for Justin, I mean, he just runs with it. So Randy.
It's funny because Randy and Mo and all those guys, they all go out to Empire a lot on Friday nights and test.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure I have run all of them in time runs.
Yeah.
And I will say that I've seen it all. I've left on them and been like, I'm out on them. Like, oh, there they go.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Somebody, I forget who it was. I had somebody that had a nitrous backfire against me, and I had a front row seat for that thing. It was middle of the night, and it's like lit up next to me. I'm like, well, that was kind of cool. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then I've watched Rachel in the Chevelle. It's like, okay, yeah, green light goes, and it's like, yep, and then and I'm still driving down the track. It's like,
Right, it's slow motion.
She makes the turn. It's like, come on, right?
I know. When that happens, it's like you're driving your car, and it's like, is this thing even
it feels
running
like you're
still?
sitting still.
You know what I mean? Is it even alive still?
Right.
You know. But yeah, the stuff, the technology now and everything, all the motorsport stuff is just wild, you know. But yeah, very fortunate. Any of those guys, Ben, Justin, Randy, my dad, I couldn't do it without them, just flat. My wife couldn't flat do it without any of them.
Right.
So it's nice. It's a family sport. Luckily my wife loves it, so that makes life way easier. My mom and dad go, my kids go. You probably see my son just terrorizing his bike through the pits at the end of the racetrack. But any of those guys, and the opportunities that I've had, very fortunate. Very fortunate. Ben just let me hop in his car, no questions asked. That was huge.
I would say part of that is also due to the fact that you're not a new driver. You have quite a bit of experience. I mean, you're a young guy still, but you have quite a bit of experience, and
Don't feel it.
And you've done well too. I mean, you've had a bit of success as well. So I mean, yeah, with those types of credentials, people are willing to let you get in their car if they don't feel like they're turning their car over to somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, or gives them no chance of winning. So yeah, there's good reason why people trust you with their stuff and are willing to help you. So
yeah, I appreciate that. It's just crazy. The drag racing group is cool. Everybody's willing, most of the time, everybody's willing to help everybody, and that goes along. You've seen that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You've been racing a long time. I haven't been racing crazy long, but there's definitely guys have more years. You've been racing a long time, probably way longer than I have, and my dad,
I say I've been racing way longer than you have because I'm way older than you are.
Well, Chris did mention that earlier, didn't he?
Yeah. So now, yeah, your dad. I mean, we definitely want to try and get your dad on here sometime too.
Yeah.
When did your dad start racing?
So my dad, I believe, started racing. He bought his Nova. You remember that?
Yeah.
He bought that 2 years before I was born, so that was '86. He started at Spencer, just a small tire foot brake car.
Yep.
Raced there a year and said, I'm going to step up. So Pete Z back halved it.
Okay. So he started in '86, or you were born in '86?
No, he started in '86. I was born in '88. So 31. Yeah. Sorry, Jason. Sorry.
So I started racing the Corvette
Okay.
the year you were born.
Did you really?
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, it's cool because
It's awesome that such an old guy is still out there racing. How do you do it? I pop my Geritol in the morning.
Right,
I get
right.
my cane. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah,
But
that's
awesome.
That's pretty crazy.
That is.
Yeah, so last weekend we could probably. I mean, I don't know what is our time limit here, Chris. Do we have a specific time limit?
We got half hour,
Wow.
reasonably.
Okay.
Half
Well,
hour
I was going to
reasonably.
say.
That gives me enough time to get everything turned over for the second flight.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, just quick story, I guess, before we kind of wrap it up, unless we want to keep going. But so last weekend was the Lancaster awards banquet, and it was their Hall of Fame induction. And I can't tell you how many times we had the conversation about where did the time go. It's really crazy, and
Right.
I'm sure your dad's a little bit older than I am. I'm sure your dad feels the same way. It's crazy. It's the fact that I don't feel any older. I mean, I still think like the same 25-year-old kid that I was, 20 from 25 years ago. But you see people and it's like, that's so-and-so? It's like, holy cow, the last time I saw them, they were like 8 years old. It's like, where did all the time go? How did that happen? And, the thing, it's like, people saying it's like, oh, geez, that happened 20 years ago. And it's like, no, that didn't happen 20 years ago. That was like 2000. It's like, oh yeah, 2000 was 20 years ago. Never mind.
Indeed.
It's really crazy.
It is.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's just it's crazy to me to think that I've been driving for 31 years.
Yeah.
And from my own perspective, the two milestones that were kind of crazy for me was that when I was older than my dad was when he passed away, so he was only 46 when he died, so I'm older than him when he died. And this past August, I didn't realize the time had passed. But this past August was essentially the time when I have now owned the Corvette longer than he did.
Wow.
And that just, again, is kind of strange to me because I don't consider the Corvette really to be mine. I mean, it was my dad's Corvette. And,
Right.
I'm just the guy who's, I'm still racing it, but it's really my dad's Corvette.
Right.
But yeah, the fact that I've now had it in, let's call it, my possession longer than he did is really weird.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're going to find yourself there soon enough. Your kids are going to be grown, and you're going to be the old guy out there. And hey, old man Scarlata, can you give us some help?
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I mean, the time flies. Like talk to Dad. I mean, I talk to Dad every day, but when I started, so just quickly, I don't want to hold you guys up, but when I was a kid, I'll never forget. I mean, my dad had the Nova. Did very well in that. Crazy back then. Sold it in 96, I believe.
Okay.
Got out of racing, said, I don't want my kids to have anything to do with this. Nothing. Literally. That was the conversation he'd tell people. I'd be with them. And
Smart man.
Randy or Pat Budd maybe, when I was a kid, you going to get Chris into this? Nope. And there was no elaboration on it. So come to 2003, 2002 maybe, I was, 14? Randy and Pat were at Elm Grove Road. And they said, hey, we want to do a dragster. Randy, just Randy being Randy always. I'll do it however you guys want to do it. I'll own the car. You guys, Dad had his motor and his transmission from the Nova.
Yeah.
Put it together, do however you want to do. And Dad's like, no, we're going to build a car. So he told me, you can race the car. You and I are going to work on it together. We're going to build it together. If you don't want to work on it, you aren't going to race it. So that's where it started.
I love that.
Yep. And that was flat out. I mean, he said, and there was times, where I didn't work on it and I didn't race it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was how he was, and he still is today.
I would say that. I mean, that's exactly how my old man was.
Yeah.
My old man was, if you can't fix it, you can't drive it.
Yep.
And so, yeah, basically, I had to work in the garage and learn how to pretty much fix everything.
Yep.
So yeah, and like I said, if I couldn't, it was just same as you. Then
Yep.
then you can't drive it. That's just the way it goes.
Yep. Yeah.
And I can understand why your dad felt the way he did, because I mean, jokingly, half jokingly, I shouldn't say even jokingly, half jokingly, curse my dad for getting me into the sport, because it's the time and the money that you put into it. And then I hear, the people that are into golf or skiing or tennis, right? It's like, oh my God, I had to go buy a new tennis racket and it cost me $200. It's like, oh, please.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And like I said, just the time. I mean, you want to go play tennis or you want to go ski or whatever else. Let's say you want to ski. All right, so it takes you an hour to drive out to the ski slope, and you get out of the car and you ski for a few hours, and it's an hour to drive back. It's
Right.
like, all right, how long does it take to load your ski stuff up into the car and put it back into the house? I mean, 5 minutes.
Right.
You want to go racing? Yeah, there's hours and hours of preparation to go racing for one day, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, you're exactly right. The time you spend, and as when I was younger.
How great would it have been if Jason was waving a cane in the air?
That would have been great. That's the time spent, and just to make sure that everything's ready to go to the racetrack.
Right.
My wife constantly harps on me. I literally probably wash the paint off my Firebird. I mean, before it goes in the trailer, it gets washed. It's not going in the trailer dirty. It's not going to the racetrack dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that's how my dad was, and our stuff is decent. It's nice. It works decent.
Mm-hmm.
My son, Saturday morning we'll get up and my son runs out and he's spraying the car with a hose, and we're washing it off and getting ready to go. But I mean, it's hours. I mean, that's it. 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's 2-3 hours of work to get it in the trailer to go.
Yep.
And Jason. I mean, what it takes, and it's just.
I asked my oldest one day. I don't remember if I was working on the car in the garage or if I was loading it up into the trailer. But I asked him one day, I'm like, do you want to get into this? Would you like to drive the car? And he looked at me, he's like, nah, it looks like too much work. It's like, okay. Well, you're right. It's
Fair
a lot of work.
Absolutely.
It's the smartest thing he's ever
Oh,
done.
yeah.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
And I have to say that, just like Chris's dad, Phil, my dad was the same way. If the car wasn't clean, it was not going to the racetrack.
Yeah.
Period. That's just the way it goes. And I have to say that I don't keep the car clean to the same standards that my dad did. I try to do the best I can, but yeah, my dad, every Friday night when he took that car out to the track and unloaded it from the trailer, it was spotless.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he also had some help, I guess, because we had one car and me and him were working on it, so I was able to clean it while he was, buttoning stuff up and crud like that. But that it's the pride in your workmanship. But yeah, it's the time, it's the money, and then the other thing too that's tough. My wife has yelled at me a couple of times. It can be very aggravating out at the track, and I will say Phil's car, for instance, has really tested my patience over the last few years, to the point where it wasn't fun to go out to the racetrack. And I would come home, my wife would say, why do you do this if it isn't fun? It's supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun, then you shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
And yeah, how do you answer that?
You don't. You can't. You don't.
It is fun, damn it.
Right. That's pretty much it, right?
Right.
And yeah, to a certain extent, it's a challenge. With Phil's car, it got to the point where he was the same way. That Phil's getting to the point where, from an age perspective, he's thinking retirement. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do it, but
sure.
We had the discussion. He's like, I am not going to stop. I'm not going to quit until this car goes straight.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was like a personal challenge. It's like I can't quit because I'd deem myself a failure if I did that.
Right.
But yeah, it's like I said, it can be really aggravating out at the track. So yeah, the money, the time, and the aggravation, and it's like, man, it's rough. It can be rough. Now, this past race at the Door Slammer Nationals, that's when you look back and you're like, yeah, you know what? All the time, effort, and energy that went into this was worth it, right?
It paid off. Yeah. Ben worked on the car a bunch. We threw in where we could, and it worked together. We kind of roughly knew what we had going on because my combination is really, really close to what we put in Ben's car.
Yeah.
Just from not perfect numbers wise, but he's got a Camaro, I've got a Firebird, different years, same concept on how they work.
Yeah.
So we roughly knew where to be. And then Randy just throws, his experience in there, and he just, he's unreal. He just looked at the car, yeah, we got to do this, and I'm sure it'll work fine. And it did. But yes, I mean, trying moments at the racetrack, oh man, yeah, we've had a few of those. Really none when we went to this race, but in the past, I mean, and you see it, you struggle sometimes yourself, you see other people struggle really, really bad. And, you try and help. But yeah, I mean, you guys struggled. Poor Phil, I mean, I was changing slicks and wheels for you guys.
Yeah.
Phil would come to the shop and he'd look at me and you could just see it in his face. He was just, wasn't even working on the car and he was frustrated. He just literally racked his brain. So we were swapping, I think we swapped like 2 or 3 sets of tires for Phil's car. And, he came in and I saw you guys Friday night at the racetrack that night. And I looked at Phil and big smile on his face. I said, it finally went straight, didn't it?
Yeah.
And he couldn't even talk. He was literally on the verge of tears because the car went straight. And it's like, that's how frustrating it can be. I mean, we've all been there. And, if you have catastrophic failures too, I mean, we've all been there too. I mean, that people don't realize that your heart and soul goes into that. Mm-hmm. Call it the engine. One piece breaks and it destroys the whole thing, and you're left with a pile of, whatever you want to call it. Boat anchor. Yeah, $10,000-$15,000 boat anchor, and you're like, you're looking at it and.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say that I'm in the same situation that you are, right? I mean, my racing budget is very, very limited.
Yes.
With 3 kids, I mean, I got 2 on the verge of college at this point, and it's like, yeah, the money that I have, spare money, quote unquote spare money, right? I have to go racing is extremely limited. And yeah, if I were to go out right now and grenade the engine, it's like, yeah, that's it. I'm done easily for the year, maybe for a couple of years. Yes. Because I just don't have the money at this point to be able to justify. And again, that's the whole thing. None of us do this for a living.
Right.
We're all doing it for fun, for a hobby.
Yeah.
And how much can you justify spending on your hobby when you got a wife and kids and everything else to go along with it? It's tough.
Yeah, it's very tough, and it's taxing, And it's we have this. My wife and I have this conversation all the time, and like I said, luckily she's into it.
Right.
As is your wife. Luckily she's into it. They let us go. Spend the time. You're away from everybody. I mean, literally.
My wife knows when I'm getting grumpy. She's like, isn't there some racing you can go do or something?
Do something, right? And I mean, I walk out to the, come home from work, and that's the deal that we have, and it's so hard. But you go home from work, spend your time with the kids and the wife, dinner, put the kids to bed, and then you roll back out in the garage, and it's like,
right.
Oh my, it's, she caught me one morning. I was upside down in the car working under the dash, feet stuck above the seat. You know what I mean? To get under the dash.
Right.
And she comes into the garage and she's like, "Are you coming to bed?" And I'm like, "Why?" It's like 11 o'clock. She's like, "Chris, it's 4 a.m. You need to come to bed." And it's like, "Oh, sorry."
Right.
But, just the after hours scene stuff, people don't see. And, the dedication that you put into it, like you said, for a hobby.
Yeah.
And, it just makes you wonder what the guys that do it full time go through. I mean, oh my,
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got a guy like Dan Fletcher that his income basically relies upon his success. And I will say I've never been brought to tears over anything that's happened with the race car. There's been some times where I've been very, very disappointed, but you could definitely see where a guy like Dan Fletcher, it's like you go. I mean, this past season was a tough season for him. He didn't win any big races, and it's got to be really, really tough. Not to mention the pressure as well when you're trying to, win to put food on the table for your family.
Yeah, that's a tough.
I don't want that.
No, I mean, yeah, I can't imagine. I don't think that would, for me personally anyways, it wouldn't be fun. Having to count on working on your stuff to go racing to win money.
Right.
I mean, it'd kill the fun for me. God bless him. I mean, he's done a phenomenal job over the years that he's raced.
Yeah, and I know he's said it. I don't know if he said it when we had him on the show here, but it's when he raced initially, when he was still working at Xerox. I mean, at that point in time, it was a hobby. It was fun for him, and when he started traveling, it was still fun for him. But now it's a job for him, and it's not that he doesn't enjoy his job, but it's not the same. He doesn't get the same fun out of it that he did before. Right. It's a job,
right? It's work, right?
Yeah, and it's got to be. It's kind of sad, actually, to a certain extent. You say you took the hobby that you love so much, and it's great that you were able to do it for a living, but you just don't get the same enjoyment that you did out of it 30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, he basically turned it, like you said, turned it into a job.
Right.
He was younger, it really enjoyed it, and it paid well for him back then.
Sure. Yeah.
But now,
well, I'm sure you saw the thing about David Rampey. Retiring.
He retired,
and so
he said it flat out. He couldn't afford it.
Right.
Economically, he spent more to get there than he could win. And
it's crazy the fact that it used to be 18,000. I think was the number that he used. It used to be 18,000 to win an NHRA national event, and now it's 8,000.
Yeah.
This is 20 years later. So, 8,000. So it was 18,000 then, which was probably, inflation adjusted, it's probably like, 22, 23,000 now. So it's like 23,000 versus 8,000, and you're 20 years later, and it's like, that's just terrible.
It's
but that's why all of these races, like Michael Beard's Loose Rocker Racing, like the the races that the Biondos put on, the fling races and stuff like that, why they become so popular, because you said it earlier in the show. The entry fees compared to the cost to go away really were pretty minimal, and people are willing to put up more money for entry fees to be able to race for some reasonable money.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we looked at it, and like you said, the spare money that I have, my wife and I talk about it all the time. You try to save some money over the winter to go racing over the summer. That doesn't always happen.
Right.
But I also do work to try and afford that, whatever it is, maybe it be side work or whatever,
right.
To put some money away, but to spend that $300-400 to go race for over the course of a weekend, 40,000, that's not bad. Now,
right.
There's bigger stuff, but then the entry fees, they expand quite big,
right.
So to afford that for guys like us, I mean, to go to a loose rocker race and knock down 20,000 is pretty
huge.
It's crazy. It's surreal. It's crazy,
Yeah, I mean, for a guy like myself, it's like, not even 20,000. I mean, I would guess if I guessed right now what my racing budget is for the year, maybe spend $5,000. So it's like, I mean, you win a $10,000 to win race, right? And it's like, you're going to have to give some of that to Uncle Sam, unfortunately.
Right.
But you win a $10,000 to win race, you pay for your racing budget for the whole year. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. And that's all of us. I mean, in the end, I think all of us are basically on the same page from a racing standpoint. If you can do this as a hobby and break even at the end of the year, where you're at the end of the year and you're like, yeah, it paid for itself. I didn't have to put one penny of my own money into this.
Right.
I think we'd all be thrilled. You don't have to make money, because it's just really hard to make money. But if you can break even, you're in good shape. But so I guess from a work standpoint, you mentioned that kind of as we wrap up here, as we're hitting on an hour and a half. So I know that you just started your own business, right?
Yep. We own our own business, Darren and I, on Westridge Road, Randy Jewell's building, RJ Profab. So we rent half of the building. We've been there for a year now, actually.
Wow.
We work on anything.
And it's just general automotive repair that you're doing, right?
Yep.
And so if someone wanted to, what's the name of the business?
Darren's Automotive.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with it, they find you on Facebook or?
Yep. We've got a Facebook page, website. Yeah, and any repairs, I mean, we do some old car stuff, old car alignments. We've got alignment machine, inspection machine, so we can do anything and everything.
Yeah, it's
so
nice.
We aren't afraid of anything.
Body work?
Body work, unfortunately, no, we don't. So, but
We could get that Lincoln rolling again.
yeah, I mean, we might be able to piece that thing back together, but
Can you straighten the course report?
but no, absolutely, yeah. Anybody needs anything, they can get a hold of us, and we're more than willing to take care of them for sure.
Anybody else? I mean, you did. You thanked your wife and your dad and Randy. Is there anybody else that you wanted to thank?
Yeah, I
before
mean, both actually, really both my parents. My mom and dad. Mom, she's not on Facebook or any of that stuff, but she creeps through Facebook on Dad's page, so she always sees what's going on, anyways. But my mom and dad. First off, Dad always said, like I said, he was never going to get me into this, and he did. Glad he did. The money stuff, yeah, it's expensive, but it pays off.
Yeah.
Just the people you meet and the friends you meet, and there's a whole nother family there.
Oh, yeah.
Jason, you
Yeah.
know that. So for that, yeah, I'm very grateful for that. My grandma and grandpa, my grandpa passed away, but he was big into it. Loved harassing my dad about it. So he helped us out a lot. Yeah, my wife and just everybody else. Randy's always stood behind me. I mean, if Dad's not there, you'll catch Randy. Randy won't be around, and then all of a sudden you'll see him standing behind the car every pass. I mean, he always is there.
Yep.
So all those guys, Randy, Justin, Ben, for the opportunity, and then Darren that I work with, he's phenomenal. Lets me use the shop anytime. Doesn't matter what it is, for the race car stuff. Doesn't care when it is. So for that, that's huge. Be able to put your car up on the lift and work on it.
Right.
At work,
Yep.
Randy's brother Ron for all the motor stuff. He helps us so much, and to pay somebody to do that is very, very expensive. So he helps us. He lets us come over. We do it with him, and his experience is just phenomenal. So yeah, I mean, all the guys that help us out. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but anybody that has helped us out in the past, we really appreciate it, and we couldn't do it without them. So.
And for the 550 and 650 races this coming year, is there a Facebook page for racers and stuff like that to go?
Yes. So if you go, for Buffalo in Lancaster, if you go to Buffalo Street Outlaws, they have a website, they have a Facebook page. Check them out. The rules are on there. And for us, it's the Empire Outlaws for Empire. Rules are pinned on there. We're still working on sponsorship entry fee stuff, but both classes, both racetracks pay halfway decent. Both had 10 to 20 cars in each class.
Yep.
So it was good there, and it's just a good group of guys, that just travel locally. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it's going to be another great season.
I got to get, like I said, Randy to build a set of headers for me, and maybe I'll buy those 10.5 set of 10.5s and throw them on the Corvette, and see if Billy can make me help me pick up a few tenths and go race 550 with the Corvette, because otherwise my car, I think, fits all the rules.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Randy, I'm sure be on board to do some headers, Jason, for sure. But what has that got a 4150 carburetor or Dominator on?
That's a 4150 on there.
I've got a nice little nitrous plate at work for you, so we could step that thing right into it.
All right. So I already have the bottle, the brackets for the bottles in the car. So yeah, I'm good from that standpoint.
Yeah,
so
got a nice little nitrous express plate that you could probably put probably 150 horse in it and go 550 or all day long. So probably wouldn't take much.
I'm intrigued.
Probably. I mean, so just real quickly, I mean, we went. It's kind of a hard judge, but yeah, it took me like 150 horse to go from 570s, 580s to go 540s.
Okay.
So I'm set up to go mid to high 40s. So you could do that all day long. So
I'm intrigued.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all, and it's super simple. Super simple.
I say I know nothing about nitrous. Nothing.
Super. You're on gas, right?
Yeah.
It's super easy then for you. Super simple. It's literally another regulator and bolt a nitrous plate on and go racing. So
There you go.
So it's, I mean, literally, you could, if you've got some stuff already, you could step into it very cheap. So we do all our own nitrous stuff. We fill nitrous bottles, so we could work with you right into that. So if you were serious, yeah, absolutely.
I'm serious.
Yeah, we'll do it. So
serious,
when you
right.
talk to Randy about headers, yeah, hit him up, and I'll help you whatever you need.
Okay.
We'll step you right into it.
All right.
So that'd be fun.
It would be fun.
That'd be a blast. That'd be a blast. So it was funny, real quickly, my son, so he's watching. I just got a message from my wife, do a shout out
That's cool.
to Jonathan.
Yeah.
So, and
how old's your son?
Jonathan's 5, so he started kindergarten this year.
Wow.
Yeah. Dad just said to say hi, Jason. So hi, Jason. But my son, he knows where the nitrous button is in the car to turn the nitrous on.
Okay.
So that's the whole joke. But yeah, absolutely, it's very doable with what you have. So we'd definitely help.
All right. Well, we definitely got to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'd be. My budget's limited, but yeah, I'd be interested. I'm interested.
Okay.
I've talked about doing a bunch of things with the Corvette over the years, and yeah, I could unbolt my throttle stop and put the nitrous plate on in its place, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's just a 3/4 inch spacer plate basically with bars on it, and the plate we've got is the solenoids are right on it, so you just bolt it on and run a fuel line to it, run a nitrous line to it. We'd have to get a purge solenoid. That's really it. You need another fuel regulator. You're on gas, nice and easy, and yeah, it wouldn't take much. And you're a bracket racer, so you get it. It's not too bad. It's just another index race at that point.
Right,
So,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Your car would be perfect for that. So you could run you've got 13.5s on it.
Yep.
So if you put a 29.5, 10.5, 15W on it,
Yep.
it's damn near the same. It's a little bit smaller. They come out to a 30-inch tire, and like 11.5 inch wide.
Okay.
But I'm sure the car would be perfect. So yeah, we could step you right into that. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Perfect.
So that'd be awesome.
Perfect.
That is perfect.
Perfect for you.
So
I agree.
that would be awesome. That'd be a ball. Just another car. You're a bracket racer. You've been doing it a long time. You'd excel. So we could get you right in the right direction quickly. So go ahead, Chris. I'm putting the screws to him over here. So we're gonna step him right into a nitrous setup. Chris is dying back there.
It's funny.
So yeah, no, it's fun, and guys like this, we can sit down and talk about it, and I'm very thankful for you guys having me on here, and really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you coming out, and like I said, love to have your dad come out with you sometime, and if nothing else, definitely make sure. I mentioned to you, I think before the show, that we could spend hours, with guys, basically talking. So open door here. Basically, you ever want to come on the show? Just let us know.
You got something to talk about? You get close to your races, something like that?
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to do that because I work with Randy for the Empire Outlaw stuff. So maybe when we get close, we'll closer to the season, we'll do something.
Sure.
We can throw out the payouts and the all that
Your
stuff.
fees website.
Yep.
All that stuff.
Everything. So that'd be great. And yeah, I'll drag Dad out here. He's not a huge TV person, but I'll get him here. So
That's not like TV.
That shouldn't be.
You're sitting around talking, you don't even know anything. If I shut this off, you won't even know.
We wouldn't even know, right?
Right.
So
he'd know.
But he'd enjoy this for sure.
I'm glad. I certainly enjoyed it. It was a good show. Episode 75 is in the books. Chris Scarlata, thanks for making the trip up. Jason, always good to see you. Again, that is going to do it for us here. We'll catch you again it's going to be a little bit more than 2 weeks this time. This is the last run up to Christmas, or did we hit one before?
No, this is...
Yeah, the next time.
Next time. So we talked about having one on the 26th, the day after Christmas.
Production meeting it later. Figured out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. So
good.
maybe we'll see you on the 26th.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to see how inspired we feel.
Right.
We'll see everybody then. This has been the Final Round Drag Racing Podcast, coming to you live from the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. We'll see you right back here again in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching.